Amazing. It's actually where we got our last tuxedo cat. Ziggy the Third. We'll see if we can find his successor. All right, brand new best of 3. This was last week's Elim League or this week's Elim League? This week's, I believe. In the top left, as the red Protoss, it is some guy named Chance. In the bottom right, is the blue Terran. It is Dream, and they both have logos that look like college teams. Interesting. Chance is Korean, according to Wikipedia. You don't have to be Korean to play in the Elim League, but but you do have to live in Korea. No, actually, you don't even have to live in Korea. No, the Elim League's actually open to everyone because we had a lot of Team Liquid staff who used to play in it. It's just an issue of time and zone, right? Like the region that is. So no one really wants to play at 6 in the morning on the Korean server if they're from North America, right? So we don't usually get a lot of foreigners, but Chance is, I guess, an up-and-coming Korean player. I'm interested to see what he's like. A lot of the time, when we do have these Korean players that start to make their mark, it's based off of cheese. I'm just gonna be real with you. This is not something that's ever been like studied or confirmed or whatever, but this probe's really annoying. But the trend of things is that a lot of the time, the non-Koreans will kind of come up with their macro and really solid play. And that's how, like, you know, that's when they earn their respect and win some tournaments in the region they're from, wherever it is. And then they eventually just get better. And they also eventually learn to be good tournament players. Like, they learn to throw in some cheeses and be aggressive and take some risks. It's the opposite for Koreans a lot of the time. The Koreans come in aggressive as hell. The Korean ladder is super aggressive, guys. Very cheesy. They take games off of very top tier pros, but they can never take series types things. And then they start working on their macro as well, and you're like, oh my god, this could be it. And then they are really, really good. And then unfortunately, and here's the harshest truth, by the time they start working on their macro and getting good and taking series and not just games, they unfortunately fall off. They just disappear. Not quite enough infrastructure in Korea for those up and coming Koreans, so that's quite unfortunate. But it is always cool to see someone that I don't recognize. I'm struggling to think of when I've seen Chance, and I don't think I have. I mean, there used to be a couple of really cool guys that we would cheer for, like Journey was this awesome player who used to actually be on SKT1 back in the day, right? As a B teamer, and then stuck around for a couple of years after SKT dissolved, but eventually just floated away. But he was also really weird and really cheesy and aggressive, and that's just how it comes to be. So I don't know if the Koreans also, like, you know, embrace this and are totally prepared. Oh, messed that up. For someone they don't recognize to be very, very cheesy, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. You know, whether they face them on ladder and they know, like, oh, it's that guy again, or they don't face them on ladder because the MMR is too different, but they're like, well, a GM, so I still have to be careful with the cheese. I actually don't know. These are just observations. But so far, despite my whole blurb there, so far, no cheese coming through. Just the Stargate opener. Very odd to see a Zealot being produced. What's up with that? What is up with what? That actually is very confusing to me. Reaper barely surviving. The Phoenix could lift it and then do nothing because the Oracle still wouldn't have enough energy. So it's just going to track it. Dream is an established player who also played on SKT1, actually, speaking of, back in the day. He had a brief shining moment of glory where he seemed to be the next best Terran years ago, and then he dropped off. Not quite the face of the earth. You'd see him occasionally, but he really did drop off, and I'm wondering even if he went to military, and I've kind of forgotten about that. Because it has been more than 2 years since the dissolving of the Kespa teams. So, did he or didn't he? It doesn't actually matter. The point is, he's back and he's looking really, really good. Specifically, his TVP has been quite impressive. So I'm thinking Chance has no chance. Here, yeah. But hey, I'm willing to be proven wrong. Drive over your country roads to West Virginia. Yes, I know where you're going with this, and I don't want to admit it, but yes, we did. Even Flash started as a cheeser, absolutely. Someone has to get hit by proxy hatch, and they're gonna follow up. Yeah, but yeah, it's like, you know, I was playing and I was just like, well, they're gonna be macroing now, and then they were like, nope, and they're all in. I was like, what? That doesn't. No, stop it. So the Zealot aside, I'm still a little weirded out by that. It's like, there's no point in being weirded out by it other than, one, you usually see a bunch of stalkers being produced early on because Twilight Counselors are so popular as openers, but also because you almost want to be producing anything else once your 7X core is done until you're getting charge started. So it was just that weird, like, third unit that he could fit in before Warp Gate was done, so he did. But obviously he will be using those Zealots as he gets charged. So the weakness here is that he doesn't have the Blink Stalkers for anti-drop, so that's why he's still building Phoenix, right? So you do have a Phoenix charge composition that is a bit unique. You don't really see it that much anymore. In fact, Stargate openers in general, not that popular, but certainly any Phoenix follow-ups, not very popular. And then sometimes you see a Phoenix Colossus thing. To see Phoenix charge is unique. Widow Mines are sometimes especially good at this, against this, and I say sometimes because we all know what can happen with Widow Mines. Phoenix can jump on top of your army and make your Widow Mines turn against you. So there's a bit of control involved there, but you do want Widow Mines. And we see Dream producing them, although he recently started producing them. So not a ton to work with yet. But Chance has gotten his 3 bases up, doesn't need a heck of a lot of gas this quickly. He does want it, yeah, I was going to say soon though, because he is going into the Archons, eventually going to be adding on Storm. But for now, it's been just the gas going into the Phoenix, an upgrade, and then nothing but Zealots. A single Guardian Shield to help out here. Phoenix come in. Widow Mines are going to pop, I think, on a Phoenix? They do splash ground and air when they do that, but the Zealot's not really taking enough damage there. Means that Dream is going to be pushed back. His medevacs are going to die if he retreats. Especially now, there's not many Marines at all, and even lifting the Marauders to stop them from kiting his units, and that is going to be a complete cleanup. Dream underestimating his opponent, maybe thinking that the Phoenix weren't around to help, and instead they came back. They were very, very helpful. And the Zealots on the ground with the combination of the Guardian Shield was just enough here to continue the attack. All the Phoenix are basically alive, right? Like, he actually hasn't lost any yet. And he's gonna go for it. No Warp Prism necessary. Medevacs have all been taken out here. Widow Mine count not high enough. Orbital not done. Is gonna be lifted. Phoenix will take a long time to kill that, but much more importantly, the SCVs are going to die, and there's their carcasses right there. They're dead. The Widow Mines can do that, you know, what they need if they get some good shots, but you do want to get up to those ghosts about as quick as possible, and that is what Dream was going to. But unfortunately, he kind of poked the bear a little bit, but his macro looking pretty good. He does recover with the reinforcements, and Chance, without his instant reinforcements from a Warp Prism, is forced to retreat. However, his Warp, again, his Phoenix count is fantastic. Those have not died. They've been the last thing to be targeted, if they're targeted at all. As you do want to take care of the Zealots on the ground, I think, if you can. If you see a prime shot, and you choose between the prime shot and the Phoenix or the prime shot and the Zealots, I think you're going to go for the Zealots. So the Phoenix are alive, and that is something you have to consider, even though you're thinking about bigger things sometimes, like, hey, there's going to be Archons, hey, there's going to be Storm, maybe eventually, though apparently not anytime soon. The Phoenix are truly a threat, not just to your army, but also to your bases. And unfortunately for Dream, he did end up losing that third CC. As long as it took the Phoenix to take care of it, they did eventually take care of it, and he was sent back down on that SCV count as well. Thank you very much, Badaboopy. Badaboopy for the 7-month resub. Dream does have an army. He has an army. It's not a super impressive army. The ghosts will be very effective. EMP blankets a lot, although he does not have the upgrade, but they will even take the Phoenix energy liftoffs up out of the equation. Not that that was actually what he really needed to do. He needed to take on the entire army somehow. Well, the EMPs did hit those Archons and those Zealots. It might not be enough here. Phoenix are also taken out. Finally, that count has been reduced, but this time Chance, taking the opportunity to clean up this fight, has a Warp Prism there for the instant reinforcements, and Dream just can't really afford to continue matching Chance here after losing that third CC. Now he's rallying in his units one by one, which is not going to go super well. He does have that upgrade lead. So, you know, the best thing is going from alongside those EMPs, but with this composition he's up against, that Phoenix Zealot thing now with a Warp Prism, it's going to try and take advantage of those fights and actually push to a win before you can recover. Not that I think Jamie actually could recover. I'm actually sure that he could have, but he is holding on for dear life. Warp Prism, a little late to the party, actually going off to the right side, maybe going to go for a drop in the main, or warp it in the main. Dream is just thinking about holding on to that natural, as he does manage to hold on. Now transferring over workers, since the main and natural of him are, you know, almost going to be mined out soon. But there's that warping I was talking about. Zealots going for the SCVs. And then probably pulled that third CC anyways. Nope, actually something else is going on. They're not pulled very far. Unfortunately, the Zealots jumping on top of the Ghost, where they can get like super effective EMPs. It does look like you got the Archon and those Zealots though, but just not enough units on the ground. SCVs being pulled, not a good sign. Not so good against Archons either. Main base is going to be barely cleaned up here, but Chance behind this going with the Disruptors, not Storm actually, which is probably the good call. In case things somehow equalized, he'd be up against someone with EMPs, obviously. So what do you do instead? Swap over into the robotics. That would have been a good call. But didn't actually need it. Chance takes game number 1 against Dream, and that's not what I expected. Magattack, thank you so much for that host. Welcome, guys. We are casting some Alima League replays that weren't cast live on stream. We're also having internet issues as I'm continuing to test out the capabilities of my new apartment. So that's fun. Gonna grab some water. And also sit back down. Vroom, 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 vroom. Okay. Whew. Here we go. Let's get back into it. Surprisingly, putting that point on the board for Chance, the unknown Korean Protoss instead of the well-known Korean Terran Dream. It felt unnatural. Felt weird. Your apartment looks sleek. Thank you. I do like the apartment. I'm not a huge fan of the internet, but it does work during the day. I'll have to call them up and be like, hey, the fuck? And when they say, sorry, I can't do anything about it, I'm gonna go, oh, well, okay then. That's exactly what that conversation's gonna sound like. Okay, so Chance going for a bit of an out there style. We think, I swear to God, like the last like 20 TVPs that I've seen, the Protoss players open Twilight Council. Trap open up the second gateway, I suppose. Actually, you know what? He went for a Stargate in that one game, didn't he? Okay, I'm a liar. My bad. But the point is, a lot of games of PvC open up with that Twilight Council. So not just to have a Stargate opener, can throw me for a loop, but also go into Charge and just go for Charge Phoenix. Just going ham on that overwhelming numbers type of composition. I haven't seen it in a while, but it can certainly be effective. It's easy to underestimate, and it's easy to forget how to play against, because basically what you want to do is you want to be able to threaten them, but you don't actually want to take an engagement until you have either a ton of Widow Mines. So when the style was very popular, we even saw like innovation go straight into reactor Widow Mines. Like I'm talking, you know, build a tank and then like reactor and then Widow Mines or something like that. And then you get to EMPs. And once you're at EMPs, that's when you start feeling really confident about taking direct engagements. And you still have a couple Widow Mines left, EMP plus Widow Mines, the entire army just evaporates. But until then, you have to be very careful because any, oops, I shouldn't have taken that fight, isn't just like, okay, I'll retreat. And you lose a couple of Marauders to the Stalkers that blink forward or something like that. No, you lose everything. Phoenix take care of the Medivacs. Zealots continue getting that charge damage in, slicing and dicing up your units. So Dream probably underestimating his opponent, not really knowing a ton about him, and then underestimating his opponent's army. Again, those Phoenix weren't a part of the beginning fight. They came kind of from left field. So probably a lot of underestimating going on, and Dream is not going to make the same mistake again, although he might be up against the same composition. Stargate Opener once again, 2 Adepts. We'll see if he adds on the 3rd unit as the Zealot. This could just be his thing. Hoping that gets fixed soon. I'm prepared to hear that it's not fixable, you know? Very prepared for that. Oh, well that's a mistake. Sometimes you want the Adept in. Sometimes you don't. I think this was a don't situation. 3 Marines with the help of the SCVs, then the Adept being... Oh. Okay, the Adept's gonna sacrifice herself for nothing. Alright, that wasn't that great.
Hostile forces
we'll be able to take care of
detected.
Adept, but letting it get the Scout and then letting it escape and, you know, just get the Scout plus maybe a Marine or an SCV. But that Adept didn't escape. It got 2 workers? Oh, I thought it only got 1. Meh, okay. Alright, yeah, okay, alright. And this is a different opener. Still a Stargate opener, but we do have more Adepts. No Zealot here. An Oracle first. We'll see how many Phoenix Chance creates. That's something that Dream will also be paying attention to as he gets on up there. Sees what the target is producing, if he was really paying attention, and loses the Reaper. That's what happens. Oh, shit. Thank you very much, TLO, for that host. Welcome, guys. Unfortunately, I have determined this hour, after hour 7 p.m. and onwards, apparently the internet in this apartment complex gets poopy. So sorry for the internet issues. But welcome. We are casting some Alima League replays. Some guy named Chance took game number 1 from Dream. And he did it with a Phoenix charge lot style of play, which I guess he is going to go into here, despite getting a few more Adepts than last game. Their next is on the way. 2 gases at that 3rd, and then he delays the ones, or the natural, then he delays the ones to the 3rd. Seems to be... I'm figuring out this guy's playstyle, as Dream should also be suspect. If he's going to go up against the same thing as last game, he's got to reevaluate how he takes engagements. And just finishing out his composition, getting all those upgrades. He will have an upgrade lead, I believe, even if Chrono goes into it consistently. I think he'll have the +1 over his opponent's armor. But that's only also if he hits like a perfect timing there. The Phoenix around bothering him. He will have to make sure to move rather slowly across the map, not lose anything to the Phoenix like a Medevac or even the Cyclone right now. Oh, that stasis trap hit like almost every single Marine. This was going to be the move out. The Medevacs are on their way, and it's already delayed a little bit. But good focus fire on the Oracle. I think that might have been on purpose. Cyclone almost takes out a Phoenix as well. I mean, the Oracle no longer casting Revelation. The Phoenix will still be able to see the army, but they might accidentally run over it first. So, yeah, just like that. Just like that. Ugh. Phoenix, a lot of Phoenix, very injured. Still cranking them out, too. I think he went up to, like, 8 or 9 last game. The charge isn't done. +1 armor isn't done. +1 weapons isn't quite done for Dream, but I think he'd rather hit this timing. Force fields will buy a little bit more time, but because he used force fields, Chance actually doesn't have a Guardian Shield anymore, which is very important in combination with the armor against these +1 Marines. He's not going to have it. He's going to have charge, but that's going to be it. Phoenix count is going to be taken down this time as well, and actually focusing down the Phoenix. so they don't chase his medevacs and maybe he can escape. Not gonna work out that well, but Widowmine's coming forward here now. They're gonna be picked up. Unfortunately, no shots gathered, but the Phoenix are now using their shots on something other than the medevacs. Well, the bio kites the ground army, taking down all of these zealots here. They're actually dying, but I mean, no Guardian Shield, no upgrade. Those zealots actually did not look nearly as threatening as those engagements from last game. Chance not taking nearly as good of a fight. I think last time he was up like 20 supply and he initiated a counterattack, and he's in a ton of trouble, losing his sentries. Phoenix count has been reduced down to 4. He's finally gonna have this +1 armor, but did he ever chrono it? It feels so late as opposed to just unfortunately late. I feel like he didn't even ever chrono it. Oof, I don't know about that decision. It was gonna be a hard fight even if he had that +1 armor, but oof, I don't know. Well, Dream has a third CC being built on location and a Ghost Academy. That was a much better fight than the last one. He saw an opportunity. He saw, I believe, that there wasn't any charge initially. And then he also probably clicked until that +1 wasn't done either. And just, you know, simply put, the army wasn't that gigantic yet, you know? Literally give Chance 15 more seconds and another round of how many zealots? 7 zealots, and suddenly that army is so different because it's the same army from Dream, but it's a bigger army for Chance since Dream's reinforcements are instant. You know what I'm saying there? But he just hit like a really appropriate attack there and is now reaping the rewards. 3rd CC on location, full saturation. Ghost Academy is going to be done and pumping out those ghosts in time for the next attack, and Chance is going to have to try and recover actually kind of expensive units. The Zealot's not so expensive, as he does finally round out the saturation on his 3rd base, but the Phoenix died, which is a difference from last game. And he also does have to replace literally every single Zealot, so it's still a bit of cash. He has set up a couple of run-bys, but oh, speaking of harassment, Widowmine's killing a ton of probes, going up to 15 probe losses there, almost the entire 3rd base mineral line, and surviving? That shouldn't happen. Come on, Phoenix. That should definitely not happen. Drain not only going to have EMPs from the Ghost, but also the supercharged EMP, which is super sick. And I think if you have the supercharged EMP, I think Chance's composition is actually the worst. It's worse. It's like worse than my internet. You know, it's just actually pretty bad. I might even go ahead and ask the Protoss to look away if we see the fight happen. It's gonna be brutal, guys. This is not all the army. Here's the rest of the army. That plus the larger than the sun EMPs on top of units that depend on shields and units that depend on energy. Okay, yeah, all right then. This isn't gonna look pretty. I do like where Chance's head is at, though. He knows he's gonna have a tough time defending the next attack. He knows there's gonna be ghosts. He knows Dream's gonna have a lot of production as well, so he's kind of past that point where just sheer numbers are going to work. Chance is going to need to think about, well, first of all, I would have said like a 4th base, but not going for that until just now, but also adding on that robo that he did last game. But instead, he just continues pumping out Archons and Zealots, and I'm not actually sure that's the right call. I think he should have transitioned into Disruptors. But anyways, he is also thinking about these run-bys to try and buy more time, which is definitely the right call. So 3 Zealots to the south, 3 Zealots to the east. Dream not quite far enough away to not respawn, comes back to take care of things, and that is not too many SCVs lost. And Chance maybe could have jumped on top of a portion of the army. He does not. Instead, he's setting up a huge concave, hoping that Dream only sees about half of the army. This is kind of what he did last game, and he's also back up to 13 Phoenix guys, but is it actually going to be that good? He's also going to try and reduce the EMP, but look at it go. Oh my god, the 2nd EMP on the Phoenix took away all of their energy. Such a good spell. Even one more EMP right there on top of the Archons and the Zealots, and that army just, oh man, it just disappeared. It just disappeared. What? I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch it again. You see it? You see it? Slow it down, guys. So, well, he's 20 armor supply difference. Didn't feel so hot for the Protoss in general, but he at least has +2 armor. EMP takes away all the shields of this army. This army actually has a decent amount left, but then the Widowmines also got it done. And, goodbye, yellow army. Goodbye. That was worth watching twice. Easy peasy. Is that better or worse than YouTube comments? That fight was about as bad as the racist YouTube comment. So that takes us to a game number 3. Awesome. Is he just a one-trick pony? That's the question now. Is this just how Chance plays? There are people like that, even up into GMs, where they have a style. You know, people are like, oh, this guy's always cheesy, or this guy always plays mech. Well, it gets even more specific than that. There's people that if you run into someone over and over again, you'll start to realize that not only do they always play mech or always play Colossus or something, but that they always have a warp prism attack at X time, that they always have a proxy pylon somewhere on the map, that they always try and hide a portion of their army to get a big surround. And they'll just continue doing that, you know? And while if you want to be competitive, you can't do that. If you're just on the ladder, even as high up as, you know, GM on Korea, which I believe Chance is, it doesn't matter as much if you're just casual. It does matter a ton if you're facing someone in a best of 3, if you're being competitive. You gotta have the ability to change things up and not be predictable. You don't want to have Mrs. Hurt and a Widowmine take on a Warp Prism, and then your entire plan just falls apart because they know exactly what you're going to do every time. Which is, yeah, it happens a ton. And I think if Chance would really want to compete in the Alien League, he would have to totally, absolutely mix things up. Can he do it, though? Or does he think that that style works because he has the opportunity to potentially surprise his opponents, you know, get that charge and +1 armor a little bit faster, and then go, you underestimate the power of Protoss, and get the win for that first fight? Because that's what happened in the first game. And maybe he thinks that it happens frequently enough you can depend on it. I don't think that's true. But I'm not the player here. It's not the Chance. What's he thinking? What's he doing? Dream gonna go ahead and play it safe, very safe in fact, with the bunker pretty quick. Now that Chance has really been doing a lot of that early game harassment. But again, Dream can't just figure that his opponent's gonna do the exact same thing. Already a bit of a change up there. Stalker coming out after the Adept, and there is that proxy pylon. I wondered if that probe was gonna do something. Seem to be taking a long way around back to home. And that is going to be for a Dark Shrine? For gateways? It might be for gateways, actually. And then you get charge. Seems to like charge, so that's what I'm guessing. I guess pros have to spread their Phoenix out now. I don't think we're going to see a lot of professional Protoss players go for Phoenix. These replays are from the Alima League, patreon.com/olymoly. You do have to pay for them, but they are very, very cheap, especially for their quality. You get all of the replays from every single week. All of them. So what's it gonna be here, Chance? Oh, it was for Dark Shrine. Okay. Cheesy. I feel like I would have preferred the mass gateway charge thing, but it doesn't. Either or, I suppose. Either or. Dream going for what is harassment instead of, like, if you go for the charge thing, right? Like that's an all-in, and you get the 1, maybe 2 attacks in, and you hope that you win the game by then, basically, right? But it can absolutely happen because Dream might be thinking like, oh, it's gonna be me attacking you first, just like the last 2 games, then suddenly it's actually a bunch of zealots already in your face with a Warp Prism. DTs are harassment, and while like they might lose people games in like platinum or diamond or something like that, they basically never do in professional games. Do they do severely crippling damage? Sometimes, but even then, not very often. A lot of Raven openers exist for Terran now, and we do have Dream going for a Raven opener, and they're also pretty good about keeping a scan ready around 440 to 5 minutes. That's your 2 base DT timing. So it hardly ever actually kills them. And they're much better at recovering from a surprise than any of us plebs. But the Dark Shrine does go into a macro game. It does let you continue to harass for a very long time and buy more time and try and recover out of it. But things are just not looking so good just because of the Raven opener. Ravens also being a another unit to actually deal with the DTs. It's always embarrassing to have detection and then no units, but an auto turret's very effective. We are going to go into charge, and he does have the option now of Dark Templar Archons instead of High Templar Archons, so he might have the exact same ground composition, anyways, from last game, but not nearly as supercharged, right? Especially if these ETs do not do damage. He's going to be attacked, and he's not going to have nearly as much to work with. Now, it seems like he realized this wouldn't work out that well. I don't think he saw the Raven. It was very close. He might have seen the Raven, and that's why he's being very careful here, but he does come into the south. Stim is not quite done. The interference matrix could go down if the DTs are unloaded to ensure their death, but to do so now would be pointless, and the War Prism just escapes. Well, so far not so great. Stalker's going to come forward here, but they do not have Blink, so this just feels like a mistake. The army is going to have Stim and Medivacs very soon. Yeah, you don't really want to... Yeah, there's no point to this, I feel, especially if you're going to have an observer scout where they're going anyways. Checking for the Warp Prism. A lot of times they do just park it right there. And a DT is parked there, but guess what? You can't actually see it. The Warp Prism is instead to the very, very top, and I can barely even see that on my minimap. That is Haxor's. Observer is seen and attacked. Oh, but the Raven. And this is going to be that push that is just, it's going to be really tough for Chance to hold. But he has gotten some decent looking units. He's got charge, +1 armor, an Immortal, and a Guardian Shield. DT comes into the natural. Missile was built. A very quick pull away from Dream and a response to the Warp Prism in the main. Does he have a scan though in the main? It doesn't look like it. He's not going to be able to take care of that. Oh, DT was almost out of missile turret range, and then it wasn't. No missile turret in the main, so this could have been the survive. Oh, okay, good interference matrix. This could have been how the DT over here survived. It doesn't matter. Archon to buy some more time. Warp Prism is going to be able to escape. Maybe not, actually. Marines on the top, Marines on the bottom, and they are going to be able to grab it. Nice split there from Dream. And of course takes care of the Archon pretty much no problem. It did draw the army back, but at the sacrifice of 3 DTs and a Warp Prism, that was not a cheap drawback, and they really didn't get a lot of SCVs either. He's going to go ahead and send another little harassment squad here, just this time of Zealots. And the CTs are still a little more expensive than them. To buy even more time. And that, I mean, it's exactly what he should be doing. I'm not sure that Dream could have ended the game if he had attacked when he could have, if the DTs didn't buy that time. Nice pick off on those Zealots. But he probably would have been able to really start poking away here. Now it could be a bit different. Shield batteries are going to be planted down. One's already done. A second Immortal. And even a couple of force fields alongside that Guardian Shield could make it a hold. Dream still has the armor supply lead. Although the upgrades are now even. It's actually going to be okay, but oh, that's what's happening. I was like, Dream has more army than that, doesn't he? Kind of. He has a scan available to take care of the defending DT. Army is split from Chance. Seems to be okay if his Zealots are actually doing their job. I don't know what's up with that. Very lazy Zealots. And more harassing units come down to the south. And that's going to be a couple of dead SCVs. Not much to respond to. But again, very lazy Zealots. And this time the DT also being lazy. Sleeping on the job. I think this could have been a few more SCVs. Not too bad this time. Marines are taking care of a couple pylons over here. More harassment in the main base. The Warp Prism drops it off and is able to escape. The Viking shouldn't be able to chase it down if it actually like runs away, but it's not being run away. Chance is too busy dealing with some other things, I suppose, trying to get Zealots back into that third base. So his Warp Prism is going to take too much damage to really safely return, although it finally does escape. In total, what happened right there? 24 workers killed? Wow, all right. Ended up going pretty well. Blink is also done, so he can take care of this drop, although he will lose a couple of Stalkers for it. Few Stalkers, excuse me. 3 Stalkers went down for that. And only just now does a +2 armor finish. But at least it is finished for the next attack. Their upgrades will be even, in a way. Ghost Academy seems to have been a little bit delayed. Maybe could have gotten that a bit faster, but it is finishing up now. And Dream might also add on a 4th CC since he's starting to bank quite a few minerals. Okay, no, he's just going back into production. 3 ghosts at a time. He's kind of expensive alongside that EMP upgrade. I'm not sure what that scan was. I don't know where it was. Okay. Well, oh, hello. The Viking returns and finds the Warp Prism. Oh, not too many SCVs died there, I think. Just, I thought that was only one more. Dream so far dealing very well with the harassment. Well, very well. Pretty well. Yeah, I'll say he's dealing with it okay. Thing is, he was producing SCVs during all that, you know, harassment, so it's not like he's really been at a terrible income at any point. Double drop in the main is that, that's really scary because Chance moved out for an attack. He's going to depower some warp gates. He's going to depower the +1 attack, but the attack is on the front lines. The Warp Prism, a fresh one, is here as well, but oh, the anti-air missile plus the Widow Mines plus any EMPs that went down. That's already a lot of... That's going to be a lot more damage coming in here. The anti-air missile being super effective, and the Immortals, I mean, they're usually pretty good, but they're losing their fodder. An EMP, oh no, that just popped all their shields. And there's enough back here at home to hold, and meanwhile, Dream has just demolished the main base. Nexus has gone down, everything's being depowered. I thought Chance had a chance with the engagement. Maybe it turns into a very odd base race, but instead Dream holds with superior army control. Very awkward engagement from the Protoss army, kind of wrapping around that bend and all that. But still fun. GG. Well, big bummer about the internet issues. I would like to do one more series before I call it quits here, though.